All right, let's jump right into this explainer and look at a premise that is frankly totally absurd. I mean, how does a microscopic, practically invisible scratch on a monkey become a massive, middle-of-the-night internet sensation? That's what we're exploring today in The Anatomy of a Viral Microevent. We're going to break down this wild digital phenomenon around a resident primate named Punch and see what it actually tells us about veterinary science, defensive PR, and, well, our own modern psychology. To really wrap our heads around the scale here, take a look at this number, 269,100. That is how many views a highly clinical, hyper-detailed medical update got. And it didn't even drop during prime time. We're talking 12:30 in the morning. Plus, this update wasn't for some world leader or a major global crisis. It was detailing a fundamentally painless, ridiculously tiny scratch on a monkey's toe at the Ichawa City Zoo in Japan. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. Now, what I love about this is the stark, almost hilarious contrast between the two realities at play. On one side, you've got Punch's actual physical reality. He is completely oblivious. It's exactly like a toddler who scrapes their knee on a branch, doesn't even feel it, and just keeps right on running toward the swings. But then on the other side, the audience's reality. You've got this frantic midnight engagement, tons of shares, and deeply emotional hashtags. We are literally throwing a digital ticker tape parade for a completely unbothered animal. So how on earth did we get here?
Let's peel back the layers, starting with level 1, defeating evolutionary camouflage.
So we have to keep in mind that wild primates are literally hardwired by evolution to mask their injuries. It's a fundamental survival tactic, right? First off, they hide any weakness so they don't paint a giant target on their backs for predators. Secondly, they'll walk completely normally on a sprained ankle because showing vulnerability basically invites a violent challenge in their social hierarchy. And third, they only ever show pain when something catastrophic has happened. So an injured monkey will actively pretend everything is perfectly fine just to survive the day.
And that brings us to this incredibly specific dispatch from the zoo, first joint of the ring finger on the right foot. I mean, just think about that level of precision. By pinpointing these exact orthopedic-level topographical coordinates before the animal even shows the slightest hint of a limp, the Ichikawa City Zoo is proving that their observation protocols are absolutely razor-sharp. This is not just some casual update, it's a massive institutional flex. They're telling the public, hey, our vigilance just defeated millions of years of evolutionary camouflage.
Which leads us straight into level 2, a defensive PR masterclass.
Here, the zoo rolls out this aggressive, three-pronged communication strategy. First, they deploy specialized medical personnel. They didn't just have a zookeeper wipe his toe with a damp cloth, right? They literally brought in a veterinarian to disinfect a microscopic scratch. Next, they lock in those hyper-specific coordinates we just talked about. And finally, they control the entire timeline, from discovery to resolution, all in one single post. By acting as their own breaking news outlet, the zoo aggressively dictates the narrative before anyone else even has a chance to say a word.
The absolute crucial takeaway here is that they amputate the possibility of a scandal. Because let's face it, in today's digital age, zoos are living under this constant looming threat of visitor backlash. One blurry iPhone photo of a tiny speck of blood could spark global outrage in a matter of minutes, throwing the zoo into a defensive scramble. But by getting out ahead of it with clinical precision and immediate medical intervention, they completely shut down the internet's thirst for animal welfare outrage. It is totally 100% airtight.
All right, moving deeper. Level 3, decoding primate politics. Take a look at this sentence, pulled straight from the zoo's official post. The wound is shallow and is explicitly not caused by a bite wound. Okay, let's pause here. Why intentionally introduce the violent concept of a bite into the public imagination if it never actually happened? It's kind of like getting a paper cut at the office and announcing to everyone, hey guys, just so you know, this wasn't a shark attack. It makes zero sense to even bring it up, unless of course you know exactly who is reading your update.
And this brilliantly highlights the reality of primate sociology. In a monkey troop, a bite is almost never just a clumsy accident. It's a deliberate act of communication. It's a political statement, basically a coup d'etat that signifies a complete breakdown in the established social order. A bite means bullying or a violent challenge for dominance is going down. And the zoo knows their superfans treat this primate enclosure like a high-stakes dramatic TV series, tracking every single alliance. So you have this really fascinating dual reality happening. On one side, you have the physical diagnosis, a vet simply treating a minor toe scratch with some disinfectant. But on the other side, you have the true objective, which is the psychological diagnosis. The vet wasn't just treating the monkey. They were diagnosing and treating the potential anxiety of their most hardcore fans. By explicitly ruling out a bite, they were essentially issuing a diplomatic press release, assuring their digital audience that the monkey kingdom remains at total peace.
Which brings us to the core of it all. Level 4, the digital empathy engine.
Just look at the hashtags the zoo slapped onto the very end of this highly clinical post. Hashtag Gambari Punch, which translates to hang in there punch, and hashtag Gambatene Punch, meaning you did great punch. Notice that wild tonal shift? They completely drop the sterile medical facts and pivot straight into these highly emotional cheers. They are openly inviting the audience to anthropomorphize a completely unbothered monkey, turning this basic biological occurrence into a heroic emotional journey. And guess what? The audience absolutely ate it up.
Timing is everything here, and a midnight update perfectly contrasts two very different realities. On one hand, you've got your standard midnight doom-scrolling feed, right? Just this exhausting cognitive load filled with heavy, unsolvable global trauma and ambient anxiety. Then, suddenly injected into that feed, you get the monkey update. It's a tiny, perfectly contained crisis that is already pre-solved by the time you're even reading it. It perfectly contrasts the exhaustion of modern news with a rare, concentrated hit of instant catharsis.
When we actually break down the mechanics of this digital empathy engine, it all becomes crystal clear. The fuel running this machine, it's our modern cognitive load and ambient anxiety. The gears turning it are this pre-solved, safely contained microcrisis, and the ultimate output is easy dopamine and psychological relief. It gives users a brief, highly manageable surge of concern that feels genuinely good to resolve because the professionals have already saved the day. It's a super easy psychological win in a world where, let's be honest, those are pretty hard to come by.
It reveals this incredible insight. The monkey is just a vessel for them to safely offload their own ambient anxiety. It exposes a fascinating and deeply asymmetrical parasocial relationship. You literally have over 250,000 people feeling an intimate, emotionally taxing connection to a creature who doesn't even know they exist. This totally oblivious animal just becomes a safe digital container for our own heavy macro emotions.
Let's pull this all together in our final section, the modern zoological intersection. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on. We've just watched an official account mobilize a massive audience over a totally painless little scratch. So are these hyper-specific medical bulletins actually serving animal welfare anymore? Or, in our desperate need for solvable problems, have they quietly evolved into a carefully managed psychological release valve for humans? It really makes you wonder who these midnight medical updates are truly designed to heal. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I hope this changes the way you look at your feed.